polygon table of double-wide mental introspection, and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Hey folks, Dude here. Coming in again. Another edition of Dude After Dark. This one being the slightly belated edition, and I do apologize for that one, but I was basically stuffing my face with a kind of belated sandwich because things kind of came out just a little bit later than I truly intended, but hopefully things are working out. I have done some new technology, so hopefully you guys are now noticing things are maybe just a little bit brighter. Literally all I did was I went to Wally World, and of all things, they have a clip-on LED light that literally jacks into the USB of your computer and supplies additional light. And there is a couple, different spectrums you can play with, and this is basically like, the blended bright one. There is the yellow tone, there is the straight white tone, and there's it's the straight white tone, and then there's the intermixed. I believe it's that's one. That's everybody. And there's actually like multiple brightness levels, and they say expressly, don't aim it at your face, aim it at the keyboard, so it gets like a bounce. And hopefully it's looking a little better, hopefully a little brighter in the room, because I know sometimes it can be a little on the darker side in here. And in the room, I do have some of my friends here. So, Patriot Fever, do appreciate you coming by. El Tenda, grazie amigo. And my buddy, Martinez Sasquatch, appreciate you coming by there, Abram. So, good stuff like that there. And I guess it's time to begin. Now, I know, obviously, everybody here is getting positively, how could I say it any other way than just, they're getting absolutely hammered by gas prices. Yeah, just hammered by gas prices. There's no other way around it other than to simply say we are getting just sick of it. Okay, sound guy. No, I mean truly, we're just getting raped, pillaged, burned. We're just getting we're getting juiced like you don't want to know. Logan Ray, appreciate my fine neighbor from the north coming on by here, and good stuff like that there. Things might get a little bit faster as we go along because I actually do have another cup of Java. I'm kind of a late riser, obviously, if you guys don't know it. I do work the overnights doing Uber and Lyft. And the thing about it is obviously, this is still like my this would be like my mid-morning, as it were. Okay, typically I get up like somewhere in the order of between 1 and 3, and that's basically my 5 or 6 a.m. So good stuff like that one. Martinez Sasquatch, not really. For once, not having a car at 24 is a good thing. Well, especially, dude, living out in California, man. You want to talk about California gas prices, man. You are just getting... Yeah, you're just going to get every way, shape, and form, and it will not be...
Death! By snoo-snoo!
No, there will be no snoo-snoo.
Snoo-snoo!
No snoo-snoo. You're just going to get...
Death! By...
You're going to get the high, hard one, because California gas prices are just...
You're despicable.
Yeah, it's terrible, okay? So anyway, looking at things as it is, the gas prices in California as they are, and I can tell you from my own personal experiences, obviously driving for a living, driving a mid-size SUV, if I keep my foot out of it and I keep a steady cruise, I've gotten 25, almost 25, almost 26 miles per gallon in a 8-passenger SUV. So not bad at all, okay? Obviously, it's not going to be like driving around some little, basically hybrid car, like some gutless little Prius or something, but you can't stuff 7 passengers in a Prius and have them all like each other, okay? That's just not going to happen. So anyway, looking at things as it is, you just can't do that with a Prius at all. No, 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 you can. No, it's definitely gonna be. Yeah, just definitely. Yeah, just. Yeah, just. Yeah, hardcore. Yeah, critical, critical stop. All right. So anyway, yeah, I guess it will be a bite in the bag. All right, so let's go over here to the news portion of the show. Looking at things, I did find a meme, and this one absolutely nails what you can do for high gasoline prices. Uh, Obviously, you want to keep your vehicle up. So, the first thing on the list would obviously be to check your tire condition and check your tire pressure. Most time people think, oh, well, car tires wear out because they're overinflated. No, it's because they wear out because they're underinflated. An underinflated tire flexes so much more, it generates such heat that it just delaminates the layers of rubber and accelerates wear until finally it's gone. Okay? Don't do that to your tires. Run them at a comfortable air pressure for you. Now, I can tell you from my own personal experience, running my truck somewhere in the order of about 35 to about 37 psi is about optimum. I could put 40 in there. However, once I put 40 psi in the truck, it starts literally just like, it's almost like the rock on the stream surface skipping over the bumps. It's too much. So definitely make sure you check your tire pressure, check the condition of your tires, the alignment of your vehicle. All these things come into play and will increase gas consumption. Number 2, reduce your speed. Find an optimum cruise speed for your vehicle, because I found the sweet spot on my truck is about 65, 67 miles per hour. Boom, that's it. So what is that, about 103, 110, 103, 110 kilometers, something like that? So that's like optimum for my car on a cruise. And if I exceed that, only thing is I'm eating more gas. I'm not seeing the high MPG numbers that I could do on a long cruise. So obviously adjust your vehicle speed to optimum consumption levels. Now, the other one they say too, and this one does not apply to me whatsoever because I drive too much in very populated areas. Obviously, lots of stop signs, lots of stoplights. They say to avoid lots of stops and starts. And the thing about it is, it's kind of cool with my car is I can actually look at a display that's, like a little display in the center of my dashboard, and it tells me obviously, odometer readings, and it tells me distance to empty, range, along those lines. And it's a rough calculation, but it'll also tell me miles per gallon. And it'll tell me miles per gallon because it actually has like one of those sensors in the intake manifold that measures absolute manifold pressure, or in this case, absolute manifold vacuum. So the more vacuum you're creating, the more sucking of air you're bringing in there, the more fuel you're needing to feed the fire. So optimally, what you wish to do is you wish to accelerate at a smooth but steady pace. And I've heard it classically defined and described as you wish to drive around like you have an egg under your foot, between your foot and the gas pedal. You don't wish to crack the egg, so it's slow, gentle application, maintaining speed, or accelerating. Martinez Sasquatch. Also only fill the fuel tank to the halfway mark to save on weight. WW2 U.S. ration board. Well, considering the fact that most of the time those guys would get like 4 to 7 gallons per week, they didn't have a lot of gas anyway. But usually for me, I almost always try to keep my tank full. But a very simple reason is I'm a prepper, okay? I don't like to have a situation where, oh no, I just drove home and I'm like sucking fumes. I do not like that sensation. I do not like that range of thinking. And I think it's characteristically very short-sighted to drive around with your car on E, because you're looking for a situation where you need to either run and gun, or you have a situation where you need to GTFOH, get the blank out of here, and you're sucking fumes in very, very short order. So typically with mine is I can guesstimate my MPG by reading that bar graph as it's scaling up and down, and I try to keep it up above a certain point, while accelerating. Obviously, it's going to fall because I'm accelerating. I'm asking a lot of the vehicle to go from a standing stop to an accelerated form of maintaining speed. So in that logarithmic curve, you have the high point of sucking too much gas and the low point of not going anywhere. You want to find that happy medium where you're just kind of getting a gradual acceleration and taking advantage of the hills. So that's one of the other things too, is also as you're coming up to lights, you don't need to stay on the gas to maintain your speed. Let go of the pedal, coast into a stop. I've gotten to the point now where in some instances, I barely even need to touch the brakes, and that's just practice. The other thing too is also in my particular breed of Honda, there is a couple of bezel lights that come on onto the instrument panel, and it'll turn from green to white to you're not doing so good. And it's not red, but it goes from green to white. And what it's literally saying is you're getting good gas mileage to gas mileage to, dude, you're just driving this thing like, you're driving it like a hot rodder. And the thing about it is you can kind of use that as a gauge to gauge your driving and, hypermile your vehicle and all the rest of that fun stuff. You can't really hypermile an SUV. It's a brick going through jello, right? It doesn't have the best aerodynamics to begin with. And also there's way too much air going underneath it to have good aero effects. So it's basically, it's the plain wing with too much air moving around it. Most sports cars, they really like to be close to the ground. That way you don't get the air underneath it. That way they kind of, hunker down and they actually do better. Patriot Fee in the Room says, like I've said, my truck measures in gallons per mile. Yeah, it's a little thirsty. So anyway, the last one is obviously don't carry crap that you don't need. Now, I can tell you for a fact, in my old CRV, that thing has got scads of tow equipment in the back. And I never really bothered to take it out. I never really bothered to worry about so much about gas mileage because that truck, no matter what I did to it, it would get like 22 to 24 miles per gallon. That's it. That's as good as it ever got. It never would ever get any better than that. And driving around town, it would go down into like the teens. Patriot says, dude, you got to quite citing laws of motion. It's inclusive. It's uninclusive to snowflakes. Well, there is actually a last rule of tips to save on fuel. This one comes around only every few years. Don't vote for Democrats. Okay? That's how you can save on your fuel costs. Let's see. Scrolly. I cannot tell you how funny I found this one from Horizontal Harris, our Veep in good gargling, good standard. But Kamala, and I got to go very New York on that one. Kamala says the unthinkable about truckers. And this one coming in from Analyzing America blames them for causing pollution and making the air poisonous to breathe. Talking about somebody who's literally, operating in a vacuum. Oh, my stars and garters, there's special kinds of stupid people on the planet, and she makes them look like Einstein. So they said she reached a new low when she attacked the truckers who are protesting overly restrictive. Hang on a second. I got to shift position here. Hang on a second here. We got to shift position. Hang on. I gotta find the appropriate sound effect. Here we go. Okay, we're talking about people who have received the overly restrictive
The Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
but we're talking about people who have gotten
The Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
Okay, so we're all on board. That sound effect was the 44 Magnum shot. Okay, so we're talking about people who are protesting the overly restrictive
The Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
mandates in Washington, D.C. Harris said pollution from, quote, pollution from heavy-duty trucks and buses have made the air poisonous to breathe, and this pollution is also, of course, accelerating the climate crisis. I got to tell you, folks, there's a whole hell of a lot more state, city, and urban organizations that are operating buses rather than the free market. Yes, there's some, passenger buses going around. I would never ride a bus. Man, it's like a day and change to get to like New Orleans. I'm not going to do that to get to Louisiana. That is blanking ridiculous. A day and an hour or a day and a couple hours. I looked it up for one of my passengers the other day. Yipes. And I do mean yipes. Quote, threatening the future of not just our communities, but of the entire world, end quote, Harris said during a speech near the White House. Harris said she's got the dream to get rid of all the trucks and replace them with electric-powered vehicles. Quote, Imagine the future, the freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to your grocery store shelves and buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine they were produced with zero emissions, she said. I gotta say this. You stupid, horizontal, BJ whore. Where are you going to get the electric energy to recharge all these EV vehicles driving over the planet in your pipe dream of removing all petrochemical vehicles on the planet Earth? I'll await your answer, you stupid, horizontally BJ whore. Oh, my stars and garters, there are stupid people on the planet, and then there's her. Because right now, if you took the entire population of every petrochemical fueled vehicle in the United States and you replaced it with an electrically run vehicle, and then you tried to jack that into our current electric grid, it would melt like a 3-penny fuse. We do not have the generating capacity, not nearly enough power reserve to ever think about doing that in our current state. We would need at least 20 to 30 years to build our charging medium up to the point to be able to handle all those vehicles. And there's a reason why I'm saying that length of time. The dirty little secret, folks, is those big-ass transformers that take power and step into different voltages, we don't make it here. It comes from 2 places on the planet. One of them not so bad, the other one that completely sucks. They either come from Germany or they come from China. And the ones in China, I'm sure they really have us fast-tracked to send us way more of these devices to plug into our infrastructure that are completely free of any hidden bougies. That's the other dirty little secret, folks, is anytime you get anything from the Chinese, you don't know if there's a spy device, a Trojan device, or a get-you-letter device that might be built into the system. This stupid horizontal BJ whore really kind of glosses over the fact that she is, 1, an idiot, and 2, is trying to sell this crap to everybody when we can see the truth for what it is. Until they come up with an electric car that you basically pull into a gas station and fill in 5 minutes like you can with a vehicle that's run on petrochemicals, the electric vehicle does not match up range for range. And I don't care how big the battery pack is with kilowatt hours and all the rest of this happy falderall with, electric motors that make 300 horsepower per pound. It doesn't matter for a hell of beans if you can't take that thing and drive it from range to range and refill it within a certain period of time, which doesn't make Joe Average go, okay, I'm going to go and, hit the rest stop here for the next hour and a half for my car to recharge. Now, the other thing, too, is there is some good aspects to this. Running urban vehicles that have a 100-mile range and say it only takes 70 or 80 miles to knock out their daily runs. Read like a bread truck, read like somebody that runs potato chips, runs like, some other vendor item. Yeah, that makes perfect sense because it makes the run, goes back to the yard at the end of the day, and then recharges. That won't be a huge, bigger, more taxing on our current grid operations versus what they're trying to say is everybody on the planet should be driving an EV. We're not ready for that, folks. Not even close. Let's see. Patriot Fever. Low patriots agree with the last rule of fuel savings. All right. Patriot Fever again. She does spew enough hot air for the hydroelectric. Now, she's actually bad if you think about it with bad toxic emissions to the biosphere. She's really bad in that regard. The nuclear Sasquatch. The Mercedes Sasquatch, we would need at least 100 new nuclear breeder reactors to just make the needed juice. Absolutely. But the thing about it is, most people don't even think about is while we tend to go with all kinds of hydro and this and coal and petro and blah, 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 natural gas operated, power stations, the French have pretty much perfected nuclear power. The French don't get power failures. Ever. And there's a running joke that's actually kind of funny if you watch the movie. In the movie Taken, where he hooks the guy up to the power and he's like, I got bad news for you. We're in France. And when I turn this on, it's not going to go off. And it's not going to go off until somebody forgets to pay the bill or somebody comes in here and turn it off, because the French never, ever have a power failure. And the guy's sitting in a chair like, and he's like, have a nice day. Turns on the power, and the guy's like, he's having a really, really bad day as he's getting fried, and Leslie Nielsen, or not Leslie Nielsen, but Neeson's walking out going, yep, that's on you, pal. Have a nice day. You can enjoy the good old fun times of just, yep, you're plugged in. You're plugged into French power. Actually, I think that movie Taken may have had something else in there too. Yeah, it is a little bit. It is a little bit of an older movie. Okay, so anyway, the Taken movie, you see him hook the guy up and he gets his information. May have been Taken too. I forget which one it was. Anyway, so Horizontal Harris, being the Horizontal Harris that she is, has an absolutely small grasp of how the world actually works at large for the crap that she's fed on a daily basis to spew it out to everybody else. And yeah. This one's another really kind of cool piece of news. This one coming in from AmmoLand.com. Missouri Ole Miss is canceling all federal gun control efforts, which is now going to the Supreme Court. Now, remember I told you guys last week where basically if something is in a state, is operated in a state, doesn't leave a state, and has no other way of interacting with the federal government other than, maybe the company might have some kind of tax things, but it's not interstate commerce. The government has absolutely no wherewithal to state, oh, yeah, that machine gun that's in that state doesn't leave that state, and it's blah, blah, blah. Technically, they don't. If it's interstate commerce or taxation therein, yes, they do. But if it's something that's staying in a state and it's been made in the state, it stays in the state, and it's owned by a person in that state, the federal mandates of the 1934 Gun Control Act and all the other gun laws are pretty much rendered moot. Keep wondering if Remy keeps coming by and snooping every once in a while. Excuse me. Patriot, if you're the only thing French that doesn't wave the white flag. Yeah, well, they get the nuclear power, right? All right, so this one's from AmmoLand.com. U.S. Supreme Court's tasked with the job of sorting out a case between the Department of Defense and the state of Missouri regarding House Bill 85. Seems that President Kaka, let me get this right here. President, I got to get this right. I cannot let it be said without anybody knowing who I'm speaking of. So we're talking about the name is... I love the fart at the end. All right, so President Kaka, his Department of Defense doesn't like the idea that the state of Missouri has decided to protect the citizens from an overreaching federal government and unconstitutional laws. House Bill 85, also known as the Second Amendment Protection Act, or the SAPA, has really gotten under the skin of the administration because it prevents gun grabbers at the federal level from coercing with state officials for gun grabs. The law does not extend the various federal statutes, executive orders, and administrative orders, court orders, rules, regulations, or other actions that collect data, restrict or prohibit the manufacture, ownership, or use of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition exclusively within the borders of Missouri. Remember that part I was telling you about? It's made there, it's owned there, it stays there. There is no interstate commerce. The federal government can pretty much, the federal government can kind of just pound sand. So the legislation was signed into law in 2021, sponsored by Representative Jared Taylor, and validates federal firearms laws. Under SAPA, the law enforcement agencies can be fined up to $50,000 if they enforce federal gun regulations. You can imagine how infuriated the gun grabbers would be over something like this. Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Brian M. Boyton, head of the Justice Department Civil Division, said, quote, a state simply cannot declare federal laws invalid, end quote. Quote, this law makes enforcement of federal firearms laws difficult and strains the important law enforcement partnerships that helps keep violent criminals off the street, end quote. No, it doesn't. It puts a restriction on you guys to say that, well, can't do something that we find reprehensible, trying to take away our sound guy. We don't have those, okay? I'd like to have those, but we don't have those. Okay. I really, really would like to have those, but we don't have those yet. Grizz in the room. Appreciate you coming on by, brother. And let's see what's going on here. Okay, let me scroll. So Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt said, quote, after the disastrous arguments in the Missouri Supreme Court last week, the Department of Justice has now filed yet another partisan lawsuit that seeks to attack Missourians' Second Amendment rights, end quote. Schmidt went on to say the attempts by the administration to invalidate HB 85 are also an attempt to stop the very successful Safer Streets Initiative implemented in 2019. According to Schmidt, the Safer Streets Initiative have resulted in the filing of over 650 charges against nearly 390 defendants with a conviction rate of roughly 98%. Interesting. Quote, my office has fought to continue the initiative, but this initiative has been suspended solely because of the administration actions. So it seems that the Biden administration, doesn't like the crime prevention unless they're the ones that determine who the criminals are. While Missouri seems very successful in statewide focus at stopping criminal behavior, the administration seems to be preoccupied with the confiscation of confiscation of guns at the federal level. HB 85 clearly states, quote, the people of Missouri have vested the General Assembly with the authority to regulate the manufacture, possession, exchange, and use of firearms within the borders of this state, subject only to the limits imposed by the Amendment 2 of the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Missouri, end quote. Well, there it is. The pesky Second Amendment prevents Democrats at the federal level from violating the God-given rights of American citizens. In this case, Missourians have had enough of it. Schmidt went on to say, make no mistake, the law is on our side of the case, and I intend to beat the Biden administration in court once again. The Second Amendment is not a privilege, it is your right. Remember, I've been saying this, folks. If something is in a state, doesn't leave the state, it's manufactured in the state, there is no federal interaction upon it whatsoever because there is no interstate commerce. This one, I gotta find the appropriate sound effect here. I gotta find it. Hang on. I gotta find it. This one is just perfect. This one is just perfect. Hang on a second here. Here we go. CNN disaster reported multiple stars face hatchet as new management plans a talent purge. That's right, folks. There's a new sheriff in town, and well, let's just say he is not the previous guy. Yeah, that guy is gone. That guy is gone, okay? Pretty much you could say that, well, he didn't he get fired or something? I think there was something where involvement in something sketch was yeah.
Ouch, that really hurt.
Yeah, I think it probably did because they got tired of him being just
Juggling thunder.
Yeah, they just got tired of him and
Juggling thunder.
Yeah. They just got tired of him and he's gone. So the new guy's in town. Let me just run through it real fast here. Truthpress.news and CNN disaster reported multiple stars face hatchet as news management plans talent purge. And CNN hosts who traffic in misinformation and political partisanship may be shown the door. After the forced departure of CEO Jeff Zucker, yeah, that would be Mr. How do I say this without saying this? How do I say this without saying this? Mr. Jeff Zucker. He's just a royal sucker. I think that's about as clean as I can make it. Okay. So anyway, executives discovery who are merging with the CNN parent company of AT&T reportedly want to distinguish CNN from partisan flame throwing and liberal color commentary, which defined the network during Donald Trump's presidency. Maybe because they see they're losing their blanking asses. Yeah. So, Discovery executive John Malone is leading the effort to transition CNN in the direction of hard news coverage, according to the Washington journalist John Nicosia. Malone is reportedly moving to push out some of CNN's most partisan hosts by the end of spring, according to Nicosia. Nicosia's source could be referring to Brian Stetler or Don Lemon, both of whom thought they'd be close to Zucker, Mr. Yeah, that guy. Mr. Sucker. He's a real, Zucker. During his tenure at the network, Lemon delivered an unabashed, emotional on-air message praising Mother Zucker after his ouster. Zucker was forced out of CNN for failing to disclose a workplace affair with a colleague. You know what? I really got to call I got to call Dookie on that one, okay? Having an affair with a coworker is really just Martina Sasquatch, a rooster vacuum. Exactly. Gator Red, what will happen when more attack? Dude, I think the trucks going around the Beltway is an awesome thing because it shows the politicians you are not untouchable. Just because you're surrounded by the Beltway does not mean you're untouchable, okay? From the Beltway to DC, at any point of it is maybe 12 to 15 miles. DC is not that. It's basically DC encircled by the Capitol Beltway, okay? Yes, it goes through Maryland, it crosses into Virginia, then it crosses back into Maryland. But DC is pretty centermost, man. It's right damn there. So let's see here. Malone wants the network to focus more on hard news and opinion, according to the UK Daily Mail report on February. Okay. Does anybody remember when CNN was a serious news agency? Like, you had the guy going, "Oh, I'm reporting in from Iraq," and he's in a motel, and you can hear like rockets and stuff going on around him. And the dude's like, "Yeah, I'll be on the ground here, momentarily as soon as the rocket fire subsides, and I'll be giving you the man on the street news stories." Back when they actually really were a true to form news agency and not some washed up liberal hack agency seeking to attack President Donald Trump in every way, shape, and turn with stupid hearsay liberal crap. Ugh. The media executives pointed out the coverage of Ukraine is content that transcends CNN's political partisan bent, according to a separate Nicosia Twitter posts. Maybe they're actually reporting the news as opposed to opinion. Yeah, partisan contacts failed to translate the rating successes in the post-Trump era, with CNN routinely obliterated by Fox News. No, dude, it was obliterated by Fox News the entire trip of the train. They're only just really having a reality check right now, and they're sucking wind. Both Stetler and Lemon have languished in the ratings dungeons in comparison to their peers since the start of 2021. It is common for CNN hosts to place more emphasis on criticizing Fox News segments or old news from the Trump era than it is for them even scrutinizing U.S. government policy and world events. And I put that last couple words in there. CNN has also been rocked by ethics scandals by both hosts and executives caught colluding with disgraced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. You want to talk about a royal... Oh, no. I wasn't going there. I got this one. We're talking about a royal piece of just sucker. You want to talk about a royal sucker? That is Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo. Both of those guys are just beyond just... Yeah, it's like the gears are turning. CNN thinks it's doing something. Yeah, and then it just implodes on its own momentum of stupid. So, Pretty soon you're going to hear CNN signing on going, we're CNN. Yeah, because those are just... I think I like that. Yeah, I like that one better, sound guy. Just a bunch of suckers. And Martina Sasquatch, I will do I got this one, sound guy. And I'll add a vacuum sound effect to it. So I can say that they are literally, you're talking about roosters. So you say that they would be a cock. And a vacuum cleaner, well, what does it do? Well, it sucks, so it's a sucker. So we're talking about rooster suckers. Yeah, we're talking about, that one. I like that one. Okay, we're going to keep that one. The other one is, it's okay. I like this one sounds kind of, it sounds more jokey. Okay. Oh, no, Pedro Fever. Don't get him started. Oh, Jesus. You had to do it. You mentioned the Q word. Yeah. No. Sound guy.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
I mean it. You got him started, guys.
The name's James.
I'm about to take the quack away from him again. COUS. Seen truckers 2 times going around the Beltway. Love it so far. No traffic jams when I was there. Dude, from what I understand with the truckers is they have a couple hard and fast rules. 1, do not restrict emergency vehicles. 2, if somebody's trying to hook an exit, let them take the exit. Don't block traffic. What they're doing is they're showing a presence going around. They're not trying to screw the process up. They're showing a presence. And if you want to get down and dirty, a 53-foot trailer in front of, behind a, 35 or 40-foot truck, that's a big chunk of real estate, okay? That thing's really going to be making itself known. And when you get like a couple hundred of them, it can take over a roadway really, really quick. All right, so anyway, former host Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo's, no, he's not. I was talking about the truckers. Oh, no. Obviously, that duck trucker got lucky. All right, so stop with that, okay? Just stop, all right? This is the one I want. Yeah, that's the one I want, okay? We're talking about those rooster suckers. All right. Anyway, so former host Chris Cuomo, Andrew's brother, was forced out in a scandal and he faced sexual harassment allegations. Oh, I wonder why he wasn't part of the Me Too get together. Yeah, longtime CNN producer was also arrested last year on federal sex trafficking and pedophilia charges. We're CNN. Yeah, you're a bunch of disgusting liberals who posit yourselves as the voice of all things good and proper, and we have to listen to you. So let's see here. I don't know if you guys caught up with the video I posted up, but supposedly there is now a situation where Joe Kaka wants to have inroads to get ability to check out your Bitcoins alongside the Zelle and what was it now? The PayPal setup where essentially if you make more than $600 a year on either of those items, they want to make sure that they tax them. They want to have ability to go snooping on these things so they can stick you for the tax load and get some money out of you. Well, they also truly now want to snoop in and get a hold of your Bitcoins. Okay. So you got to be really, really careful in that regard. And you have to really, truly understand that they are just going to try to take away your money and they want your, Bitcoins, not that, not those kind of it coins. No, bit, not Bitcoins, not SH it coins, Bitcoins. I can't, there's some days where he's just doing stuff and I really, truly can't stop him from doing what he's doing. Bitcoins, okay? Bitcoins. not SHIT coins, Bitcoins. Okay, we're talking about people going in and using Bitcoins. When they use Bitcoins for cash transactions, and they want to make sure that people have some way to get their money, that's what we're talking about. Dude, sometimes you're just really blanking annoying. All right. Anyway, Biden wants to get access to people's Bitcoins. And I made note about the fact that right now the encryption on Bitcoin is using something called blockchain. It is some really hardcore encryption. And unless you give them the key, they're not getting into it. And most of the people that actually have the second half of the key, or the first notion of getting in there, they're not letting you have their bit, BIT, Bitcoins. Oh, man. Bit. Dude, seriously? Bitcoin. I am so sorry I let him go running amok on the internet to find every fart sound he possibly could. Bitcoin. Bit. Anyway, so he wants to get inroads to get the access for your blockchain and allow him to see just how much money you're making on your Bitcoins. Dude, just stop, okay? Stop. Bitcoins. He's trying to make sure that he has access to ensure that whatever income that you're generating off of Bitcoin, which is sheltered from the federal government, that he knows how much Bitcoin you're getting. Seriously. He wants to know how much Bitcoin. Dude, how many fart sounds do you have? It's getting pretty bad, folks. So anyway, the Bitcoin access in which they're trying to seek right now is fully encrypted with the blockchain. And from what I understand, even with a supercomputer, it would take them somewhere between 30 to 50 years to crack each blockchain so they could access your Bitcoins. Anyway, so trying to get a hold of your Bitcoins. Would you stop? Trying to get a hold of your Bitcoins, they would actually need to have some way to, well, you would have to facilitate it, because truly, it's basically closing the door, because there's no way in the world the federal government wants to deal with, however hundreds of millions of accounts, if not billions of separate accounts, people would be generating with Bitcoin. People would be generating with Bitcoin. People would be generating with Bitcoin. That, okay. So anyway, people would be generating Bitcoin accounts. Every single one would take 30 to 50 years for them to crack. So speaking of crack, you've been cracking quite a bit of them, and stop it, okay? So anyway, the Bitcoin technology right now is secure. And they don't like secure. They want to know that they can basically get into things, start snooping on things, and do stuff in such a way that they can really find out how much you got, where you got it from, and how many Bitcoins you got. They want your Bitcoins. They really, really want your Bitcoins. And once they have access to your Bitcoins, it won't be good.
Fatality.
All right. Well, anyway, in the way, shape, and form in which things are right now, considering how secure it is with your Bitcoins, the federal government has no access to get into your Bitstream, find these things out, and just unload whatever you have saved in your Bitcoin account. So, yeah, it could be said that, they really, truly don't like the fact that you have something secure that they cannot get into.
Oh, my.
I know, it's something they don't like. So, the Bitcoins are secure. No fart sounds. Wow, that's amazing. There was another meme that I found was kind of humorous, and I said I got to clean this up for air, but I said it's kind of F-tarded, like the F-chuck tarded. So it's kind of F-chuck tarded, but if we did it, the government would crap their collective knickers. And the meme says essentially this: if everyone just didn't drive for 2 weeks, we can flatten the curve. So that could be said. I mean, that truly could be said. Pedro from the room. So when does Biden quack or the rest of the liberals quack and try to force their way into the Supreme Court? Well, you got to remember what happened with Apple. And just give me 1 second here. I got to take a swig before it gets too cold. What happened with Apple was they approached Apple and they said, look, there's a bad guy, potential terrorist. He's got information in his phone and we want you to unlock it. And Apple said, yeah, that's nice. We have our encryption protocols and our algorithms and everything's all locked down. And we're not giving it to you. And the federal government said, oh, no, you better give it to us. And the Apple guys said, nice try. We're not giving it to you. It's proprietary information. Pound sand, piss up a rope, whatever you wish to call it. Screw a hole, drill a hole, and screw a hole in the ground. We ain't giving you jack squat. So the federal government was pissed. The federal government was really, really pissed. And they were like, well, we should get this information out. You should give us the key. And Apple told them in no uncertain terms, go pound sand. And they didn't say it like that. I'm sure they said it much, much nicer. But they said to the federal government, go pound sand. We're not giving you jack squat. Go away. So anyway, the way, shape, and form which happened, the federal government was now basically, actually, hang on a second here. Let me see if I can't find this. Oh, here we go. We got to open it. Does anybody have a key? There's got to be a key around here. Let's open the phone. And if you guys know anything about iPhones, 10 missed keys and the phone bricks. So after 10 times, it ain't opening. And you better have a good way to unlock it because you got to go through Apple to unlock a bricked phone. Translation, the government would then have to go to Apple and Apple would say, yeah, that's nice, but not feeling it. You guys can just go away. We already told you what we're going to do and we're not opening the phone. So, pound sand. So anyway, that's what physically happened. Was the government was now locked out of a phone that they said, oh, this is a terrorist phone. We need to get access so we can find out what bad guy is up to. Bad guy knows. All the other bad guys that we're trying to catch. It's for a good cause, Apple. You should unlock this phone for us. And Apple was like, you know what? We're still not impressed. Your need doesn't arise to the level, depth, and breadth that we deem worthy to give you that proprietary information or to do it in some way that we now have enabled you to have the contents of a phone that we have encrypted. So what did they do? The federal government did what they always do, and they said, oh, snap, and they didn't say, oh, snap. They said, oh, snap, we need somebody to fix this. Where's a nerd? So where did they go? They went to Israel, and they talked to an Israeli specialist in information retrieval and cracking devices and some scary, seriously smart dudes, man. You want to talk about somebody that's able to get into stuff and snoop and poop around? The Israelis are very, very good at that type of stuff. So anyway, they handed it off to the Israelis. I think it took the Israelis about a month, and eventually they figured out how to crack, unlock, and retrieve the information from the phone and then hand it off to the federal government. Now, I'm sure the federal government was really charitable to say, yeah, now that we got this information on how to open an iPhone, we'll never, ever use it again. Yeah. Well, what did Apple do? They did what they always do. They go back to the drawing board and they come up with an even harder encryption that's even more like it's going to take you a really, really long time to unlock the phones now. Now, the funniest damn thing is everybody's like, oh, yeah, well, dude, you got to be so concerned about using your phone for communication. No, I'm not, because there's another thing that you can do is you simply get yourself an encrypted messenger service where even the company can't read what you're doing back and forth between somebody else. There's several out there, and I can tell you for a fact, the one that I'm using, it's the one that the special forces guys use to talk to each other. So if there's anybody that's paranoid enough to use something on their phones and their special forces, that's good enough for me, man. I'm thinking that there's nobody seeing what I'm saying to anybody, telling anybody, and it's good enough. It's good enough. So even as porous as an Android phone is, that messenger service is that good. And if you guys are curious, I'll actually tell you in the room what that is. And you can find that for Android and for iOS. So it is offered by for Android and Apple products. And if you guys choose to go into the Google Play Store, just put that name in there; it'll pop right up. That's the one that I use. So anyway, looking at things as it is, I cannot begin to tell you how messed up it is still for air travel. And the last time I flew out to Arizona, and then coming back from Arizona, I had a layover in Vegas, and then came back, basically all in the same day. It was total calamity flying out there. I was supposed to go out there to do something, and that kind of just, went up with a glorious boom. So I pretty much turned around and came back. Put in somewhere in an order of almost 5,000 air miles in the course of one day using 4 airports. So that was quite a bit of and I do mean like using one to go out, hitting 2 in the other way, and then coming back to the first one the second time. And I can tell you that was a lot of seat time. Luckily, I did actually happen to have my favorite little tablet, which is below camera view, and I had movies on there, and I was watching movies and playing games and whatnot. I refuse to pay the ridiculous rates that they charge for the Wi-Fi on any flights in the United States. Man, I got to tell you what, it is blanking ridiculous what they want to charge you for any kind of in-air internet. It's just beyond reason. So anyway, what happened here is this one's coming in from conservativefighters.co, and there's a video out of a Delta passenger who was kicked off a plane for wearing well, let's just say not Let's Go Brandon t-shirt, but he was wearing a F Chuck Biden hoodie. Now, the thing about it is, it's even more funny about this is everybody's like, oh, yeah, that guy deserved to get pissed off. It happened to be a black dude. Oh, man. So a Delta Airlines passenger recorded a video of an airline official kicking him off the flight, threatening him with being placed on the airline's no-fly list if he did not comply. Why? Because he was wearing a F Biden hoodie. And the Delta official also pointed out he wasn't wearing a mask, but the hoodie took center stage in the videos the passenger posted on TikTok. The first clip from, so-and-so and so-and-so identifies himself as Janelle Brooks. In the subsequent clip, the airline official tells him she spoke to corporate security, and if he doesn't leave the plane with his F Biden hoodie turned inside out with the passengers, she adds that the decision is based on Delta's quote-unquote policy, end quote, that, quote, you cannot wear it, end quote. The airline official adds to Brooksy also could have been placed on the, quote, no-fly list, end quote, if he doesn't comply. He then tells the Delta official he needs to see the policy for himself, and she replies they can look up the policy on a computer in the jetway. He argues there's the right to express himself under the First Amendment. It isn't clear what date the interaction took place, but Brooks posted the first clip on Wednesday. Content warning, profanity on the hoodie visible in the video. So he posted this up on March 9. Delta Airlines on Thursday offered the following statement, quote, Delta has long prohibited customers from displaying profane or derogatory words or images, and our explanation is for customers and all people to treat each other with dignity and respect always. Nothing is more important than a safe civil travel experience for all. We apologize to all our customers for any inconvenience caused by the briefly delayed departure. While libs of TikTok indicated they chatted with the Delta rep who said passengers can wear whatever they want, Delta's contract of carriage, quote, end quote, for U.S. travel, rule number 7, quote, refusal to transport, end quote, E, passenger conduct or condition, end quote, states that, quote, Delta may refuse or transport or remove passengers from its aircraft when the passenger's conduct, attire, hygiene, or odor creates an unreasonable risk of offense or annoyance to other passengers. Okay, let me put this in perspective, folks. I have transported many passengers to an airport, and they wore enough cologne that I was almost catching a contact high. So that one's funny in all its face. But I got to say right off the bat, Delta, you're off my no-fly list. I will never put a foot on one of your planes. I don't care if it's more convenient. I don't care if it's cheaper. I don't care if it's even flying at a better time. I will not ever fly Delta. ever. Spirit, you're right up there too. I usually go Southwest. That's because it's just easy. You know, it's a big airline. But the idea is sitting on a 737 and flying for, X amount of hours from here to there. I might actually go to another airline, just get on a bigger plane. Sometimes it's just more room that way. Anyway, so looking at that one, that is just redonkulous. Absolutely redonkulous. This one, gun related. I don't know if you guys caught up with this one or not, but the latest travesty called a budget continuing revolution, whatever you want us to call this thing. 18 Republican senators joined with the anti-gun Democrats in favor of the gun control in the final passage of the $1.5 trillion piece of crap. 2,700 pages. Did they bother to read it? No. $1.5 trillion spending bill containing the Violence Against Women Act, Reauthorization Act, so the VAWA and the NIC Denial Notification Act, both of which include gun control. So the GOA, or the Gun Owners of America, said the reason why that passed was because of these 18 senators. Remember these names in November. Barrasso, Republican Wyoming. Blunt, Republican in Montana. Capito, Republican in West Virginia. Collins, Republican in Maine. Ernst, let me go down one, go back up one. Cornyn, Republican in Texas. Ernst, Republican in Idaho. Graham, Lindsey Grahamnesty, Republican South Carolina. Grassley, Chuck Grassley. That's the reason why I know him by name. Republican also from Iowa. Or it might be Idaho. It's IA. Hyde Smith, Republican from Mississippi. McConnell, enough said there. Republican from Kentucky. Moran, Republican from Kansas. Murkowski, that name comes up all the time. Republican from Alaska. Her ass needs to go home. Portman, Republican from Ohio. Shelby, Republican from Alabama. Thune, that's another name that comes up quite a bit. Republican from South Dakota. Tuberville, Republican from Alabama. Wicker, Republican from Mississippi. And Young, Republican from Indiana. Those 18 rhino pieces of... I got this one, sound guy. Those Republican rhino pieces of need to go home. Not mildly, not lightly. They need to go home with their asses on fire going, yeah, that was a huge damn mistake. Apparently, people knew what I was doing when I voted for this ridiculous spending thing and tried to go, well, we needed a budget to be done. You assholes didn't even bother to go, you know what? No. We need to have a reading here. The biggest problem is, and it's been well established, these guys cut and paste previous crap into the next budget, and they don't bother to read it. They're given 20 hours, basically, to read 2,700 pages and go, no, that doesn't look good. No, this is bad. I don't like that either. No. They literally say, okay, here's this phone book. Thump. Yeah, that's good enough. We'll just sign on that one. These guys need to pay the price. Bad. Big time. It needs to hurt. They need to know, know in certain terms, you do something like this, it is going to cost you your job. No matter how long you've been in there. And in fact, because you've been in there so damn long, your ass needs to go home. This one I find unbelievable. This one defines the word irony. That's the only way to say this. This one defines the word irony. Possibly arrogance, hubris, and short-sighted liberalism, but most expressly, it's going to be irony. George Soros to the U.S. The EU must remove Putin and Xi from power before they can destroy our civilization. I'm tongue-tied here because it's such a leap of faith for him to even say something like this. The EU must remove Putin and Xi from power before they can destroy our civilization. Quote, the Third World War will destroy our civilization unless Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are removed from power, warns billionaire Democrat George Soros. The thing about it is, I find unbelievably striking about this and just very insulting is he is a hardcore, just beyond leftard socialist. And what does he say? Oh, we got to remove the communist guy. We got to remove the guy that was a former communist guy who was basically inculcated, and he's basically so beholden to the communist way of thinking that he wants the place to be a communist again. Ugh. Disgusting individual. And if you want to talk about somebody that looks like, Senator Palpatine, that's George Soros. He looks like Senator Palpatine. Would it be after he got fried by the Force lightning or after? I think after. Except he's not green. He's just really fugged out. And, I know he's old, but wow. Speaking of another airline I won't fly, I'm going to talk about United Airlines. Yeah, United Airlines. Them and all their infinite wisdom, being just charitable, have decided that, they now are going to allow people who have not gotten the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
Remember, that's the sound effect that says 44 Magnum shot. So those people who have not gotten the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
So United Airlines to let workers who didn't get the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
return to work. Could it be maybe that they're short of manpower? Could it be maybe that they're not able to hire new bodies to fill all the holes that they vacated by saying, hey, you didn't get the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
You are persona non grata. Go home. So United Airlines plans to let workers who decline to get the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
to return to work, according to a missive obtained by the Epic Times. So, on bang, those people who have not gotten the bang are now being allowed to return to work. Isn't that nice and charitable about United Airlines? Yeah. So, people who have not gotten bang can return to positions by March 28, according to the memorandum, which sent the workers on Thursday morning. If I was these workers, I would tell the company in no uncertain terms, go away. I found another job. I'm doing something better. You don't pay me enough to deal with your Bravo Sierra. Yeah. So United and Delta and Spirit. I'm not flying any of you guys. Go away. I'll fly somebody else before you all ever get my money. This one I found really interesting, and it's easy to see for what it is. You people probably don't know this about me, and I usually don't, pull the curtain back that far, but I am a single item voter. No matter what. There's only one item I ever vote either for, against, or, support or remove support for anybody who's representing me or anybody that's doing any kind of anything election-wise. I have one item. Only one. I hold dear, and I'll wear it on my sleeve. Second Amendment. That's the only thing that I follow as a voting pattern in any way, shape, or form. However, it is now being shown on the world stage that the biggest case for the Second Amendment is happening right now in the Ukraine, and leftists in America are forced to watch. And this one's coming in from firearmsnews.com. And what it is essentially saying is that the Ukraine, and I'm saying the Ukraine, as in the precursor to the current status. So the Ukraine really didn't have firearms ownership legally. If you had a gun, you didn't talk about it. If you had an AK, it was not like something that you show off and hey, this and the other thing. Well, those people who are private firearms owners in the Ukraine are now fighting for Ukraine. And the difference being is something as minor as the way in which you phrase the name Ukraine. Ukraine translated just means borderline. So what you're saying is my country is the borderline to Russia. This is my country. It is the borderline from me to them. So when you say it's the Ukraine, you're saying it's the borderline, possibly mushing around and it's squishy and, it's not really solvent and, or it doesn't solve for insolvency. It's basically solvent for like incursion and, anybody can do anything they wish to. So those people who are formerly of the Ukraine are fighting for the, not the, but fighting for Ukraine. And it's the biggest case for the Second Amendment that can be stated is because those people that have the guns are now using them to defend their homeland. The Japanese were quoted as saying, I don't want to go to America. They'll be in America hiding behind every blade of grass because that's a nation of riflemen. And it's very simple to see, too. The population of 3 states of deer hunters is essentially bigger than any standing army on the planet, including China. China has 25 million guys in the military. I got bad news for you, dude. You start looking at like the amount of deer hunters, and these are guys that actually like they like being out in a tree stand in crappy weather all day long. And if they don't get a deer, it's still a good day. These guys will literally hang out all day long in the cold, wet, nasty stuff. And if they don't get off a shot, it's still fine. If they do get a deer, even better. So that's where we are right now with that one. Is the classic example. Excuse me, folks. Nose is running. Classic example we're seeing right now of a population that is armed defending itself is better than an unarmed population basically being stuck doing whatever the guys invading say they got to do. Good stuff. Let me scroll one more. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one or not. This one positively sickens me. And I cannot begin to tell you in no uncertain terms how much it sickens me. But I question their authority to govern over a free people, and you work for us. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about now that the DHS, and this one's coming in from truthforus.news, DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, releases new rules on extremism, and they will target anyone who questions the 2020 election or challenges the covert Chinese communist viral infection narrative. Whatever happened to freedom of speech? Whatever the first, 4th, 14th, as many amendments as I need to throw at you. What happened to all these things? Did they suddenly become rendered null and void? No, you work for us. Understand that in no uncertain terms. You work for us. It is not the other way around. You are not an overarching authoritarian, nanny state thing that tells us what we can and cannot do. You work for us. So the Department of Homeland Security released new guidelines on extremist behavior, which includes questioning the 2020 presidential election or promoting quote-unquote conspiracy theories about the Chinese communist covert viral infection pandemic and the dates. So the memo titled Report to the Secretary of Homeland Security, Domestic Violence, Extremism, Internal Reviews, Observations, Findings, and Recommendations claims the socio-political developments of the 2020 election and the Chinese communist covert viral infection pandemic could, quote, spur domestic violent extremists to, quote, engage in violence, end quote. Well, it's already spurred you guys to put a fence around every major building in D.C. It's already spurred you guys to step on everybody's constitutional rights. It's already made you guys suspend habeas corpus for those people who are now stuck in jail, not able to seek representation, not able to get bond. And essentially what it is you are warehousing these people until any way, shape, and form that everybody seems to forget about them. Every one of you assholes needs to be under the jail. On March 2021, unclassified threat assessment prepared by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Department of Justice, DHS, noted that domestic violence extremists who are motivated by a range of ideologies and galvanized by recent political and sociological events in the United States pose an elevated threat to the homeland in 2021. No more so than any other time in this nation's history, except for those times where you guys make the American public seek possible revolution because you guys are being too hands-on. Call it what it is. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but another phrase of irony. Scott Ryder Room, why do you think the truckers fell through? Might be just like a time thing, or might have seen that their cause is just and they've done enough. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I really haven't been following the trucker guys driving around. It's just something it's just fallen below my radar. I mean, I've heard about it, but I don't live around DC. I drive around DC, but I don't live around DC. So by the time that trucker thing happened, it really just didn't affect me one way or the other. So I really didn't keep up on it. Sorry, man. I cannot begin to tell you how funny I find this one, but I got to find the appropriate sound effect yet again because, well, it's going to be humorous. So anyway, today's word is irony. Well, that and schadenfreude. Guess that communism isn't making the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
scared. So China is now battling multiple
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
outbreaks fueled by the stealth Omicron variant. So a new strain challenges the country's zero tolerance
The Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
strategy as different districts adopt different policies. Hong Kong leader unsure if the public would accept further measures. I don't know about Hong Kong, but I just find it hilarious that these guys did this. It got out, and now they're like, "Wow, we don't know what to say, man. It was an accident, and it got out. Somebody ate the wrong animal in the market, and la 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 la." No, guys, you let it out. You let it out. So anyway, it could be said that the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
went back home. I don't know. There's no other way to say what it is, but that's what it is. So anyway, it could be said that they found a new way home, and we're going, "Hi, you remember us? Can we come in?" Yeah, I think that's what happened. So anyway, look at this things as it is. Coming up on the 10-15 time period. Basically, I got an hour in. Usually don't try to make the show too terrible long. Scott Ryan says, "How is it so stealthy?" I don't know, dude. How do you hide a tractor trailer except among other tractor trailers? I guess that's kind of one of those like things where you basically have like 50 of all the same thing driving around. Who's in it? Who's not in it? We don't know. All right, so I'm gonna break up this one, folks. EcoKip is always, you love it. Appreciate your time and you guys coming in and hanging out in the room with me tonight. I know you got many other things to do, but you decided to do that with me on a Tuesday, and I truly appreciate your kind attentions. So I'm gonna break up this one, and I'll catch you guys next week, and I might put another video. I don't know, but all the good stuff like that there, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys later. See you guys. Ernest!